这个故事如果你听起来不累，那么你的听力水平在生活中是完全够用的。要持续提升英文，记得点击订阅按钮。我们开始吧。
The moment people stopped trusting him was not loud, not dramatic, just quiet, like the sea right before it turns. The phrase loose cannon did not start as a joke, and it did not start as an insult. It started as a warning spoken in low voices on wooden warships, where a single mistake could turn strength into disaster. In the late 1700s and early 1800s, life at sea was hard, slow, and dangerous. A warship moved day and night, pushed by wind and waves. The deck was narrow. The air smelled of salt, smoke, and sweat. Below deck, where light barely reached, heavy cannons rested on thick wooden frames with small wheels. These cannons were not decoration. They were the ship's teeth. Each cannon weighed thousands of pounds. It took teams of men to load one. When the ship was steady, the cannon stayed still, quiet but full of force. Sailors trusted it. They depended on it. But the sea never stayed steady for long. When storms came, the ship rolled from side to side. The floor tilted. The walls groaned. If a cannon was not tied down with strong ropes, it began to move. At first, it shifted just a little. Then it rolled. Once a cannon broke loose, there was almost nothing anyone could do. It crashed across the deck, smashing barrels, tearing through wooden beams, snapping bones. Men were crushed before they could shout. Others froze, knowing that running could make it worse. A single loose cannon could punch a hole in the side of the ship, letting water rush in. It did not care who it hit. That was the terror sailors feared most. Not enemy fire. Not pirates. Not the dark water below. The danger they feared was their own weapon, turned against them. After storms, the crew walked slowly through the damage. Broken boards. Bloodstains. Empty hammocks. Everyone understood the lesson. Power without control was deadly. Over time, this fear turned into language. By the early 1800s, people on land began using loose cannon to describe a person. It was not someone weak. It was someone strong, talented, full of energy. The problem was never ability. The problem was direction. Imagine a busy harbor town near the Atlantic coast. Ships arrive with goods from far away. The docks are loud with voices and the sound of wood and metal. Among the workers is a man named William. He lifts more than anyone else. He works faster than anyone else. When trouble comes, he is the first to step forward. People admire him at first. But William reacts before he thinks. If someone questions him, his voice rises. If someone pushes back, he pushes harder. One morning, a small mistake turns into shouting. Shouting turns into fists. A crate falls. Someone is hurt. The ship misses the tide and must wait another day. That evening, the owner shakes his head and says words that once belonged to sailors. He's a loose cannon. William did not wake up planning to cause harm. He simply moved with too much force and no pause. Like a cannon rolling on a deck that would not stop moving. This is why the phrase stayed alive. A loose cannon is dangerous not because it is bad, but because it is powerful. History repeats this pattern again and again. Soldiers who charge ahead without orders and ruin a battle. Leaders who speak in anger and lose trust. Friends who want to help but turn small problems into large wounds. There is a moment in the old sea stories that many people forget. Sailors did not remove the cannons. They did not give up their strongest weapon. Instead, they learned to secure it better. They used thicker ropes. They checked the knots. They respected what the cannon could do if left free. That choice matters. By the 1900s, loose cannon became part of everyday English. Teachers used it for students who were smart but disruptive. Coaches used it for players who played hard but broke rules. Managers used it for workers who spoke without thinking. Then something changed. People began to wear the label with pride. Being a loose cannon sounded fearless, honest, unfiltered. It sounded like strength. But the old truth never disappeared. A loose cannon still causes the most damage nearby. Think about moments in your own life when things moved too fast. A message sent in anger. A joke that went too far. A decision made without stopping. The damage was not planned, but it stayed. Sailors understood something we often ignore. Power is not the enemy. Lack of control is. Cannons were meant to fire. They were meant to protect the ship. They just had to be aimed and held in place until the right moment. The phrase survived centuries because it describes something deeply human. So when someone is called a loose cannon, the real question is never about talent or courage. The question is whether that strength can be trusted when the ship starts to roll. And when the noise fades and you are alone with your thoughts, there is a quieter question waiting. Where in your life is your power still moving without ropes?
能以非母语者的身份专注学习到现在，这本身就是很棒的进步。真诚感谢你的观看。如果你觉得本期内容实用，点赞或留言让我知道你的想法，这对我持续创作非常重要。我们下期见。